and today I'm going to demonstrate 3 recipes from my cookbook, Plant-Based Recipes and Meal Options. And I'm going to show how you can make a lower fat version of the guacamole and a Pico de Gallo fresh dip to go with the guacamole, and also how to make crispy corn chips without any fat. So the first one I'm going to demonstrate is the Pico de Gallo, which is on page 213. It's called Fresh Pico de Gallo Salsa Topping. So in my food processor, I have things pretty much chopped up, but you want to get it kind of a little more incorporated. So I'm going to add 1½ cup of diced fresh tomatoes. I'm going to add ½ cup of red onion that was diced, ½ cup of red bell pepper, and 1 garlic clove. And I have this wonderful little garlic crust here that you twist, and it's very easy to use, and so that's going to be the fresh garlic. ½ cup of chopped cilantro, a teaspoon of cumin, and 1 small jalapeno pepper without the seeds. If you want it really hot, you can put the seeds in. And 2 tablespoons of lime juice. Now I'm going to pulse it. All I want to do is incorporate it. And that's about it. So you see that it's nicely just mixed together. Let's use this one. And this is a great topping for burritos. This pairs well with my spicy cheese sauce. It's a way to get a lot of flavor for a chip or a burrito or a top of a bowl, anything like that. I'm going to make the guacamole in this same container, so I'm just going to get out what I can because it'll be fine to leave that in there. So it's very colorful and perfect for dipping the chips. For the guacamole, it is on page 200. And with this recipe, the unique thing about it is that it's peas that I just poured some boiling water on and let them sit for a little bit, and then an avocado. So we're going to take, it was about a medium-sized avocado, place that in the processor, cup of peas that are just cooked slightly blanched, and then we have a minced garlic, 2 sliced green onions, and some green onions. We have ½ cup of salsa, which is going to give it flavor. We've got 2 tablespoons of lime juice, and then we have chili powder, salt, and cumin. The salsa is going to give it a nice color. So there we have zesty guacamole. Because of the salsa, the color is a little bit darker, but it has a lot of flavor. And you have a lot less fat than if you were to use all avocado. Especially if you only have one avocado, then you can use this to extend it. So that's a great dip. To try. And the last recipe I want to show you is the baked corn tortilla chips on page 187. I placed a baking rack on top of my baking sheet. And in the recipe, I have using 12 corn tortillas, the larger ones, and the thin ones are the best to use. I, for this, showed how you could also use these little taco sliders, which are these organic corn tortillas. So I cut them, they're just small ones like this, so I cut them in 4 pieces, and then I laid them out. I put a little bit of water, 2 tablespoons of water and 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and I brushed it on the top and the bottom. The little quarter pieces, you could do strips, you could do whatever shape you wanted. You can do this and then sprinkle on, Trader Joe's has some really good chili lime seasoning. It has a little bit of salt in it, but you could just sprinkle a little bit of that. Because you're putting the salt in the water, it gets evenly distributed. And you're going to want to preheat your oven to 450 degrees. And I put these on the middle rack in the oven. And I set the timer for 5 minutes. Now on the recipe it says 5 to 7 minutes. It depends on the brand of the tortilla. If they're very, very thin, it might work between 5 and 7 minutes. I put these in and I checked them at 7 minutes and they needed another minute. So they're very crispy. It's very different without the fat in it, but you can use them for dips, to dip into things. They're a wonderful addition to a plate of rice and beans and the pico de gallo and salsa and the cream, the cheese sauce. I think they're really good. It's the type of thing that if you want to try it and experiment to make them without any fat, they're best when they first come out and then they crisp up. You can keep them in an airtight container. I've seen recipes where they cut them, instead of triangles, they cut them in really thin little strips, and then they use those as a topping, a crunchy, crunchy topping. So the other thing that you can use when you cut them up is use a scissors instead of a knife, and you could just make, you could make them in with like really thin little strips too. That would be really good. So there's lots of ways to do it. You can also put the little bit of salt water in a little spray bottle and just spray them to do it. So this is just a simple demonstration to show how you can make chips, pico de gallo, and a guacamole that is really delicious for any kind of snacking or meal that that you like. It's really important to use fresh lime, and it just makes all the difference in the world. So hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next time.